Namaste, Jai Bharat. Marxism used to be interesting. At one period in time, there was a time when many people were attracted to Marx and Marxian theories, especially people who were young, people who were studying in universities, people who thought that this is something different, new, etc. But the time is long gone. Subsequently, with that kind of a movement, there came some communist nations, so-called communist nations, which were supposed to be based on the principles taught by Marx. Lenin was the best archetype dialectician who tried his best to put Marxian principles and theories into practice, and he thought he is doing a right thing. Till that time, it is fine. But then, today, if you really open your eyes and look around the world, you cannot, I'm sure, see an authentic Marxist. I don't know, there may be possibility of exceptions which shall indeed be very rare, but definitely even such expressions cannot, even such exceptions cannot escape their inner contradiction between their thinking pattern systems. Anyway, today Marxism or communism is just for the sake of name. It's just for the namesake. You can see China, which had long left Marx. China had long left Marx with Marxism, and they evolved their own methods of dictatorial pattern of government. Of course, immediately after the post-revolution scenario situation, Marx envisaged a dictatorship indeed, which of course he thought it to be dictatorship of proletariats. But then in practice you see China doing first half beautifully. It's a dictatorial pattern of government where their party, they have a communist party which is dictator. The leaders are real dictators. That's what. Now look at China as a nation. Take the case of the Uyghur Muslims. Now I am very conscious about the Darul Islamic concept of the ultra Islams who are somehow led to believe that it's their duty to establish Islamic world. There are few people, not many in number. The majority actually do not belong to this category, but there are some who are led to a kind of conviction which says that Islamic world is the only, it's a panacea, and it's only the solution to whatever they think of, etc., etc. That is their so-called spiritual duty. I don't know what exactly spiritualism means in this context, but they think that's their duty, etc. They presuppose God, laws, and all kinds of things, with plenty of promises of rewards after death, and plenty of promises of threats of punishments after death in case you don't follow what is asked of you, asked out of you. But China has nothing to do with this Islam per se. They want their dictatorial pattern of government to sustain, more powerful than ever before. They go into claiming all their neighboring territories. They go into claiming all their neighboring territories. They will say Taiwan is theirs, this thing is theirs, Taipei is theirs, and even our Arunachal is theirs, this place is theirs, that place is theirs, Gilgit, etc. They claim all surrounding places as theirs. They claim, and they tell their people it belongs to them. That is an unfortunate situation. With such vast land also, they still want others' property. They want others' property. Actually, they have illegally kept Tibet under their forceful control. Tibetans are Tibetans. They have a different system in their society. They have a different system of rule, the Lama. With all those, they have destroyed or subsided everything, brought everything under their control, and then keeps Tibet as theirs, and then they start claiming the territories of Bharat as theirs. Of course, in fact, we have no border with China at all. Our border is Tibet, and Tibet's they're just like our brothers. In fact, more than brothers. Uh, the Tibetan sanskara culture is just like that of Bharat, like Nepal. That's a different branch of the Veda Upanishadic knowledge tradition, established in their own pattern, in their own manner. So we actually have no borders at all with China. They have illegally occupied Tibet, and they are claiming the border of Tibet is belongs to China, which is in Bharat, which is our Bharat's real, genuine territory. Anyway, now what they do, all those things they do, which has nothing to do with Marxism, and then they are now treating the Uyghur Muslims to a direction to nullify them. China has their own reason. I know that, as I've told you before, this Islamic world is a dream of, or there's a few people, the ultra Muslims, who are led to dream of an Islamic world, and many people must do work for it. We are actually the takers of it. Bharat is a victim of that in many places, and we have our Bharatiya Muslims, and Bharatiya Muslims will not do this. Those who give preference to Islam than the land, than their ancestry, than their tradition, only shall go for this, but not really, not at all a real Bharatiya Muslim. He would not go for such things. He understands his yesterdays and his Sanskriti, his lineage. So they don't go, but there will be some minority, few in number, among the Muslims who would support such things. So we know the difficulties of this Islamization, and China won't take it, can't afford it, because they wanted to say that they are atheists, and I don't know to what extent they can be really called as atheists. And you just can't simply be an atheist until you are very thoughtful. That's a different point. So they started suppressing the Uyghur Muslims. There are about 12 billion, I suppose, 12 billions of Uyghur Muslims, and they, in spite of the fact that they do speak Mandarin, they are of Turkish and other origins. That's what people say. I am not very sure about their ethnicity and their lineage, but their mosques, wherever it is possible, the government of China destroys the mosque. And one good thing China did is that they tried to stop the madrasa education. Actually, the madrasa education is the root cause of all misunderstandings among their own society. They tried to stop, and they impose so many things. And the United Nations have even expressed their views of human rights violation with China. But China, what do they care about United Nations or any nations? They don't care. And so long as they don't care, there's no point in telling them that you are doing this, you are doing that. In any case, the perspectives of United Nations shall be different from the perspectives of China. That shall be their problem. But China has this inherent problem, which we see, is that they wanted to take their neighboring areas, and they wanted to have a unilinear kind of rule, and they wanted all people in their nation to accept the supremacy of whatever leader their party makes. It's an explicit pattern of dictatorship, and they forget about their personal lives. How do they live in luxury and all? I'm not going into. You can find out. So the Muslims will create, their reasons of insurgency is different, and China's reasons for their suppression is also different. They really don't have this kind of things in common. China is not directly against Muslims per se, but they are against everyone except their own fault, their own folk. So Marx has nothing to do with, or Marxism has nothing to do with China. Like we have so many Marxist parties, even today in some portions in this world, they are far from the theories of Marx. And in fact, most of them don't really even know what is Marxian theories. They don't even know. They even do not have secondary or tertiary information about the kind of theories which they say, which they claim that they believe in. This is it. So China is doing atrocities to Muslims, and they keep doing it. Partially, the ultra radical Muslims have their responsibilities. They are minority, they're few in number, but the whole community suffers. The whole community suffers. And China's attitude towards anything no is one that of suppression. That's a dictatorial approach. And China wants to, wants to become the big boss, trying to replace the US, trying to assume the authority, like a position that of US, which is impossible, not simply because of the existing Asian European scenario, but because of the inherent problems that is in China. They won't be able to go to that level. Economically, they will make tremendous progress, and they're wonderful technicians. They're very innovative technicians. They create a lot of things, though they're not perfect in many places, but they do a lot of new things, wonderful things they do. Very attractive, very fascinating thoughts they have. They're great people, no doubt. But then these great people are led to destruction by this kind of dictatorial leadership. Of course, it's because of this dictatorial leadership is that they become rich. They become rich. The reasons are many, but then the people have to say yes to the government, whatever the government says. But in technology and science, they make great progress. Not in beyond a point, but all small kinds of things, they make good progress, very impressive progresses. So China is definitely against the Uyghur Muslims, and the Uyghurs are definitely suffering. And even if there are some insurgents among the Uyghur Muslims, there must be very, very less in quantum. The majority simply suffer, and whatever, in spite of the United Nations and all of this proclamation, intervention saying it makes no difference to China. So things go on. We'll meet again when we have something else to speak of. Till then, Namaste, Jai Bharat, Jai Shri Ram.